Production.
What's up, guys? So I'm gonna go over the 8EMA, what I see, how I use it, and I think it'll be a helpful video for those who are just starting to get into chart analysis. But as long as you can use trends, chart patterns, volume, uh, if you could use those together, I think the 8EMA as a tool will help as well. So first things first, the 8EMA, you don't want to use it by itself, like I just said. Use it in conjunction with the other tools as well. You want to be able to use the 8EMA on all the different time frames so that you can paint a picture of what's actually going on. And lastly, what you want to do is understand that an 8EMA, when it's being used as support, the stock is uptrending. When it's used as resistance, the stock is downtrending. And when it's sideways, the stock is consolidating. Whether it's an accumulation or a distribution phase in that trend is dependent on, of course, where it is. But I think understanding these basic concepts will help you actually understand how to use the 8EMA better. So for example, Bitcoin is on the weekly time frame. It's just finished consolidating from March 2024 all the way to around October 2024, right? So we've had several months of consolidation going sideways. And as you can see, the price is fluctuating above and below the 8EMA. It's not really steady. Now, this is all happening with the Trump election going on. We had the Bitcoin halving earlier in the year. We got the Bitcoin ETFs at the beginning of 2024 that got approved. There's a bunch of these bullish aspects going on. We're at previous all-time highs, right? So the stock is consolidating sideways at previous all-time high levels from the last cycle. And now we're slowly starting to break away towards new all-time highs. And if you look at how the 8EMA reacts through all of that, right? It's very indicative that when a stock is trending upward, the 8EMA is used in respect to that trend. So it's support. Now, let's look at the 3-day time frame, right? If that's true, and we look back to prove that when Bitcoin is trending strongly to the upside, that the 8EMA is being used as support, we can now look towards what's happening now and have an idea of what to potentially expect, right? We know Trump is pro crypto. We know that the US is going to start having a Bitcoin reserve. It's like 1 million Bitcoin. The plan is to obtain 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years. So there's going to be a severe demand shock when people are going to show up. Millionaires, entities, countries are going to be buying way more Bitcoin. I think now is the perfect time to kind of use the 8EMA to identify this Bitcoin's trend, right? So when we look back, it's pretty evident that the price will always come back to the 8EMA on that uptrend. So what we could see here is that on the 3-day time frame, maybe we just need a couple more of these candlesticks to develop before we get that continuation to the upside, right? As you look back, it's happened here. What we're looking at is a period of consolidation where we come back to the 8EMA and then we continue the trend upward. That is something that could be going on right here, right now, where we consolidate sideways before we get that move to the upside. We go to the daily time frame, it's looking pretty similar, right? You have that period of time, right? Sharp move, sideways consolidation, continuation of that move. We have that sharp move, sideways consolidation. Potentially in the next few days, we get the continuation of that. Match that with the volume now, okay? The bearish volume is drastically decreasing while we have these large spikes in above average bullish volume, okay? So that's how I use the 8EMA to identify the strength of a certain stock or cryptocurrency. Now, right? We look at the weekly, could potentially need a few more weeks to consolidate, and that'll tell us things are completely fine, just like in this situation, right? We get far extended, sideways for a few weeks, continue upwards, right? Or we get the brain melting upward, it continues to rip, where it's several weeks upward, forcing the price is forcing the 8 EMA to catch up. Right now, let's look at Galaxy, and it's the same thing. It transfers to all stocks. Price will always come back to the 8 EMA, regardless of it being a downtrend or it being an uptrend. You look back to previous cycle on Galaxy on the weekly time frame, it tends to enjoy going up significantly in price, spending a few weeks to consolidate back to the 8, and then continuing that uptrend back to the 8, continuing the uptrend back to the 8, and it continues, right? I think we're looking at the same exact thing going on now. You look at Galaxy on a daily time frame, very sharp move to the upside. You look at the bullish volume here, and it's decreasing. The bearish volume is decreasing after we get significantly higher than average bullish volume. You then compare that to different points in the stocks chart, right? You have this nice above average bullish volume, comes with a few weeks of consolidation back to the 8 EMA with decreasing bearish volume, and it continues. You could find this on so many different charts and time frames on multiple different charts. Again, here's another example. Strong move back to the 8 EMA, decreasing bearish volume, and then we continue. So that's the thesis here. You add that in conjunction, again, like I'm saying, with stock's price, the pattern it's making, the volume that's going on, and the broader picture. You use this to paint a solid understanding of what's going on in general, the broad picture. You go to, let's call it Coinbase. You go to Coinbase, and it's pretty well the exact same thing, right? Monthly time frame, likes to make a move, come back, make a move, come back, make a move, come back to the 8. You go to the daily time frame, you start to see that when it's consolidating sideways, it's difficult to see. It's going above and below the 8 EMA. When it's trending upwards, the stock's price is using the 8 EMA as support, right? So multiple stocks are going to use this as, this 8 EMA as support. It's going to help us identify the trends. So right now we get this super strong move from 180 all the way up to 320 in just a few days on Coinbase. What happens? The stock starts to consolidate. You see the bearish volume not as significant as the previous bullish volume as it consolidates back to the 8. And this is identifying to us that we could continue this uptrend for quite some time, where we see something potentially like so, where the stock's price continues, comes back, continues, comes back, continues, and something like this, where things get wild. And before you know it, we're looking at, a whole new price discovery for a lot of these equities and cryptocurrencies, right? Again, you can go to MSTR, for example, another great example of the 8 EMA on the daily time frame. Look how well it uses the 8 EMA as support. It is significantly strong. This is telling us the stock's price is strong, the trend is strong, and that when you zoom out to the 3-day, again, look how great it's been, right? Look how great it's been. It gets wild. Previous cycle, it could go on for a significant amount of time. This went from August all the way up until February of the next year. Right now, if that were to happen again, that's how long? Let's call that, whatever, 181 days. If we're using that here, 181 days, things could continue up until March 2025. How high we'll go, we don't really know. All depends on, the supply demand metrics on Bitcoin, how many more people are going to buy Bitcoin. The U.S. Reserve, right? They're buying Bitcoin. Our larger entities, is the Saudis going to start buying more Bitcoin? Is there going to be a lot of the Chinese buying more Bitcoin? Like, we're talking countries and continents over here. Are they going to start racing for Bitcoin on that type of level? Because if so, it's going to affect not only Bitcoin but the equities as well. And that's how, you can kind of use the 8 EMA to, help identify, right? So again, no matter what the trend is, the 8 EMA is used as an indicator of how strong that trend is. Eventually, at some point, we're going to see MSTR's price, Coinbase's price, Galaxy, Bitcoin's price, all these different companies and entities. You're going to see the price under the 8 EMA, and eventually, just like the last cycle, you could use that as an indicator of how strong this stock's trend is. And it'll also help you identify when it's potentially over. So that's the breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed. Kind of a long video of me ranting, but I hope it came of some help to you guys. Cheers.